yesterday we were talking about the strike, the stand-up strike, which is, it's in certain plants. And I want to thank the caller yesterday from one of the union members who talked about the brilliance of how they're actually striking, and they're putting pressure on the plants that make these popular vehicles, and not so that everyone, is not out of work, which I also appreciate. But I was thinking about the workers today and how, when President Obama took office, the auto industry was saved, and then they had record profits thereafter. And I don't recall them paying any money back to the government, but I'm gonna put that over here. But I didn't know, and I'm gonna go through this. One of the common protests in America right now is between the workers and the 1%. I'll call them that, right? The CEOs, the corporate giants, and the people who make the corporate giants billionaires, right? And it's the people that have done that. And I was talking yesterday about how, I am UAW all the way, primarily because I feel like it's reasonable. If the CEOs are getting a 40% raise on their millions of dollars a year in salary, why shouldn't the workers? You don't have a job, CEO, without the workers. So if you, maybe you don't take 40% next year. Maybe you only take 20% because, crying out loud, you're making multiple millions a year. Do you need 40% raise? What are you doing to make the company more money? You are serving the shareholders, but you should be serving these workers. And even Henry Ford understood that with his complicated ass, that if I make sure that my workers are paid enough, then they can buy my cars. It was a simple philosophy that worked then and it can work now. Take care of the people and they'll take care of you. So I am all in on the UAW. And I am looking at these CEO salaries because it's ridiculous. Since 1978, the CEO compensation among America's 300 biggest companies has gone up. Y'all ready? Drum roll, Smiz. The pay for CEOs have gone up 1,460%, 1,460%, while the typical worker's pay grew by just a mere 18%, adjusted for inflation. Look at the disparity there. It's ridiculous. And this is according to the Economic Policy Institute, so you can look it up for yourself. I'm not making up stuff, and I'm not gaslighting. In the same period, the CEO's compensation grew 37% faster than the stock market. I invest in the stock market. You telling me CEOs' pay grew faster than the stock market, which over time is supposed to be better than putting your money in the mattress or in a bank, regular ass savings account. This is ridiculous. And I'm going to ask this question as somebody that kind of knows what the CEO does. And, I hold that title in a couple of companies, my own, though, not in other companies, as if I couldn't run another company, because I could. And I would run it efficiently, and I would take care of the people, and we wouldn't have to lay off a bunch of people. But I say this to say, it's just it's so frustrating, because anybody with a brain can look and see that it's not hard to spread this out, and that the trickle down doesn't work, and that paying somebody, for example, the GM CEO, her name is Mary Barra, Barra, or Barra. Barra, Mary Barra. She is the highest paid executive among the big three that the UAW is fighting against right now. She made $29 million last year. This was a 34% increase over the last 4 years. 34%. She made $29 million last year. Please tell me what Mary Barra did to deserve $29 million. And if you tell me that she drove GM to record profits, I will ask you, how exactly did she do that? And if you told me she did it by laying off people, I'm going to give you the middle finger, because that's some bull crap. That's a spreadsheet parlor trick that Enron tried. I'm not saying there's anything illegal. I'm just saying that you can do things on a spreadsheet and then the shareholders are happy because they get more money. But what about the people that make the cars and make the cars run and make it possible for you to be a CEO of anything? Don't they deserve? And why are you waiting for this let them eat cake moment when you could have staved this off? I would have looked at it and said, okay, we got a problem. Let's look at how we can. All right, I made $29 million last year. I don't really need $29 million. So how about you freeze my raises until we can figure this out? I ain't even telling her to give back the money. How about we freeze your raises? Do you need a raise? You need a 30% raise over $29 million next year? So she was in an interview with CNN. She defended her compensation package. Here's what she said. She said, 92% of it is based on performance on the company. But the performance of the company is based on the workers, lady. Hello. So if 92% of your salary is based on the performance of the company, which is based on the performance of the people, you just made the argument for the UAW. So her compensation is tied to the GM stock and bonus incentives set by the automakers board. She also enjoys a base salary. Her base salary is $2 million. So the rest of it is like the other $27 million comes from the bonuses. This is amazing. So a CEO may get a multi-million-dollar bonus as a reward for the company hitting a profit target. And she hit that target in 2021. But a company's profit depends not only on bringing in hearty revenue, but also on keeping costs down. So that includes workers' pay. So there's no incentive for her to give them more money. Because if you keep the pay low, this feels very much like sharecropping or something like it. Because if I'm making all the money and then I'm giving people peanuts because that makes me more money, would I be incentivized to give them more money? Probably not. So among the other big three, the CEO, Stellantis' CEO Carlos Tavares made $24.8 million last year, which is a 22% increase over the previous year. And Ford CEO Jim Farley took in $21 million in compensation, which has nearly doubled, a figure that has doubled since 2020 when he was promoted to the top role as chief operating officer. And what's really sad is that these workers have always capitulated and have given back when they needed to keep the company going, because they recognize that making these concessions means that they could continue to work, and who wouldn't want to do that? So shout out again to UAW. Stay strong. I know for some of you, because I don't know all your situations, being out on strike is not necessarily a thing that you can do financially, and I appreciate that. But I think that we need to start thinking more deeply about our role. And when I played that clip from the Cretan CEO who said that, we need to drive, he's Australian, we need to drive unemployment up to 50% so these workers, can basically know their place, do what we tell them to do. No, that should never be the situation. This is the capitalism is about supply and demand. So the people demand some goods and services, you supply them as a company, but in the supplying of the demand, people shouldn't suffer along the way. It's like Shine or Nike with the sweatshops, like I'm gonna pay $200 for some sneakers that you pay 6 cents to a kid to make a child in another country. That should not feel good to you. And as I'm saying it out my mouth, it doesn't feel good to me.
I run my fingers through her hair as she smiles and says that she loves me. Isn't it lovely when the one you're lusting is the one